A cursed apsara living as a fish in the Yamuna swallows a king's seed carried by a hawk, and from that union, the lineage of the Mahabharata's greatest heroes begins. Ādi Parva, Book 1, Chapter 57. In the previous chapter, a listener who had heard a brief telling of the Mahabharata asked for the complete narrative and questioned why the Pandavas, powerful and devoted to Dharma, endured persecution without striking back. The narrator promised the full account and praised the Bharata as a work equal to the Vedas. Now that promise begins to be fulfilled, tracing the very lineages from which those heroes were born. There was a king called Uparichara, steadfast in Dharma, who once went out with firm resolve on a hunting expedition. This prince of the Kaurava line, known as Vasu, had accepted the delightful Chedi region at Indra's counsel, a land well suited to a great king. While he was living in his hermitage, weapons set aside, devoted to tapas, Indra himself came to him in person, the wielder of the thunderbolt. Seeing that Vasu's austerities had made him worthy of Indra's own station, Indra turned the king gently away from that path with soft words. Indra said, "O Lord of the earth, let Dharma not be lost upon the earth. Protect it, for when Dharma is upheld, it sustains the entire world. Guard it, ever steadfast and gathered in spirit. Firm in Dharma, you shall attain eternal auspicious worlds. Dwelling here below, you shall be my dear companion. Take up your dwelling, O Lord of men, in that region which is the very udder of the earth. It is rich in cattle, auspicious and well established, abundant in wealth and grain, easily governed, pleasant, and endowed with earthly pleasures of every kind. That region surpasses all others in wealth and gems and precious things. The earth there is full of Vasu. Dwell among the Chedis, O Lord of Chedi. The people of that realm are righteous in conduct, contented and virtuous. There is no false speech among them. How could there be otherwise, even among those who live as they please? Men devoted to the welfare of their elders do not divide their father's inheritance. They do not yoke lean cattle to the plow, nor drive them past their strength. All the Varnas always abide in their own Dharma. Nothing in the three worlds is unknown to them." Along with his counsel, Indra bestowed gifts on Vasu. He gave him a vast and glorious crystal palace in the sky, fit for the Devas, a celestial conveyance that moved aloft. Vasu alone among mortals would travel in that foremost conveyance, moving through the air like an embodied Deva. Indra gave him also the Vaijayanti garland of unfading lotuses, which would keep him unharmed by weapons in battle, a mark of distinction renowned as Indramala, matchless and great. The slayer of Vritra further gave him a bamboo staff meant to bestow desired gifts and protect the righteous. In Shakra's honor, Vasu had that staff ceremonially installed in the ground when the year had passed. From that time until today, the best of kings have continued this installation just as he first ordained it. The following day, kings caused the staff to be raised, adorned with baskets, fragrances, garlands, and ornaments. Seeing this auspicious and joyful worship celebrated by Vasu, the foremost of kings, mighty Mahendra was pleased. Those men and kings who will honor my festival and celebrate it with joy, as the Lord of Chedi has done, shall have victory for themselves and for their kingdoms. Their realms shall prosper, and their people shall be happy. Those who always observe Shakra's festival are purified by it, just as they are purified by grants of land and by great boon-granting yagnas. Thus honored with deep affection by Maghavan, Vasu the Lord of Chedi governed the earth by Dharma, holding the great festival of Indra each year. Vasu had 5 sons of great valor and immeasurable energy. As emperor, he installed those sons as kings in various realms. They were Brihadrata, the celebrated king of Magadha; Pratyagraha, Kushamba, who is also called Manivahana; Machila, Yadu, and the royal Aparajita. These sons of the royal sage established themselves in lands and cities bearing their own names, and the 5 Vasava kings formed separate and enduring lineages. The great-souled Vasu dwelt in his crystal palace in the sky, attended by Gandharvas and apsaras, and so his celebrated name became Raja Uparichara, the king who dwells above. A mountain named Kolahala, endowed with consciousness and moved by desire, had obstructed the river Shuktimati, where it flowed past the city. Vasu struck that mountain with his foot. Through the gap opened by that blow, the river broke free. The mountain itself generated a twin pair, one male, one female, within that river. The river, overjoyed at her release, brought them and presented them to the king. Vasu made the male child his army commander, a subduer of enemies. The female child, the lovely Girika, daughter of the mountain, he made his queen. One day Vasu's wife Girika, her fertile season having arrived, bathed and purified herself for the Pumsavana rite, and lovingly informed him. That very day his ancestors, pleased, told him to go out and hunt deer. He was unwilling to transgress his ancestors' command, and so he went, but he was consumed with longing and thought only of Girika, who was exceedingly beautiful, like another embodiment of Shri herself. As he wandered in the lovely forest, his seed spilled forth. He caught it on a leaf and thought, "Let my seed not go to waste, and let the fertile season of my queen not pass without fruit." Reflecting on this again and again, that foremost of kings, understanding the subtle essence of Dharma and his own purpose, carefully reckoned the right moment to send the seed to his queen. He consecrated it and called to a hawk perched nearby. "For my sake, O gentle one, carry this seed to my home and deliver it quickly to Girika, for today is her fertile day." The hawk took it and swiftly rose, flying at great speed. But another hawk, seeing the first coming, rushed at it immediately, suspecting it carried meat. The two fought in the sky beak to beak. In the struggle, the seed fell, and fell into the waters of the Yamuna. In the Yamuna, under a Brahmin's curse, lived a celebrated apsara named Adrika, who had taken the form of a fish. That seed, fallen from the hawk's claws, the seed of one favored by Indra, was quickly seized by Adrika in her fish form. Some time later, fishermen caught that fish. In the 10th month, they drew from her belly a human pair, one male, one female. Filled with wonder, they reported it to the king. King Uparichara took the male child, who became the king known as Matsya, righteous and true to his word. Bhagavan had told her long before, "Once you have given birth to 2 humans, you shall be freed." At the moment of giving birth, the apsara was freed from her curse. After bearing those 2, she was cut open by the fish catcher, shed her fish form, regained her divine form, and set forth on the path trodden by siddhas, rishis, and charanas. The female child, daughter of that fish, smelling of fish, the king gave to a fisherman. She was endowed with beauty and character, adorned with every virtue. She was named Satyavati. Living among the fish catchers, she carried the smell of fish for a time, and she was ever bright-smiled. To serve her father, she ferried people across the water in a boat. While traveling on a pilgrimage, the sage Parasara came and saw her. Seeing her, exceedingly beautiful, desired even by siddhas, that learned sage was overcome with longing at the mere sight of that lovely-eyed one. He approached that daughter of Vasu's line with a purpose already forming in his mind. She said, "See, Bhagavan, there are rishis standing on both shores. With both of us in plain sight, how can this union take place?" At her words, the mighty sage created a dense mist, by which the entire region became as though swathed in darkness. The girl looked at the mist conjured by the great seer and was filled with wonder. Thoughtful and modest, she spoke.
Know me, Bhagavan, to be a maiden always bound by my father's authority. Through union with you, my maidenhood would be defiled. O sinless one, with my maidenhood lost, how shall I return home? And at home, O wise one, I could not bear to stay. Considering all this, Bhagavan, decide what is to be done. The foremost of seers was pleased with her words. After granting me my wish, he replied, You shall remain a maiden. Choose a boon, whatever you desire. Never before has my favor been granted in vain.
She chose as her boon the finest of bodily fragrances. The mighty Bhagavan granted her the wish of her heart. Joyful and adorned with the graces of womanhood, she came together with that sage of wondrous deeds. Because of this, she came to be known on earth as Gandhavati, the fragrant one, and she became famous also by the name Yojana Gandha, she whose fragrance reaches a yojana in every direction. Parasara then returned to his own dwelling. Satyavati, joyful at receiving that excellent boon, had already conceived through their union, and she bore a child at once. On an island in the Yamuna, the son of Parasara was born, mighty with his father's power. Approaching his mother, that son fixed his mind on austerity without delay. When you remember me, he told her, I will appear for important tasks. And he departed. Thus was Dvaipayana born of Satyavati by Parasara. Because the boy was left on an island, Dvipa, he came to be known as Dvaipayana. Knowing that Dharma diminishes step by step from age to age, and seeing that the lifespan and strength of mortals grow less with each successive age, he divided the Vedas out of his desire to benefit the Vedic tradition and the Brahmins. Because he divided them, he is remembered as Vyasa. He taught the Vedas, with the Mahabharata as the fifth, to Sumanta, Jaimini, Paila, and his own son, Shuka. He also taught Vaishampayana. By these disciples the Bharata was proclaimed, each in his own separate transmission. Bhishma, son of Shantanu, of immeasurable splendor, was born of the Ganga, from Vasu's seed. He was of great valor and great renown. Dharma said, an ancient sage famous as Animandavya was impaled on a spike on suspicion of theft, though he had committed no theft. He was celebrated far and wide. He once summoned Dharma before him and said, in childhood, I pierced a small bird with a single blade of grass. That wrongdoing I acknowledge. No other sin do I recall having committed. Why then has that not been cancelled by my austerities done 1,000-fold? Dharma replied, because killing a Brahmin is graver than killing all creatures combined. Therefore, from this wrongdoing, you shall be born in a Shudra womb. By that curse, Dharma was born in a Shudra womb, that learned, righteous, and blameless form known as Vidura. Sanjaya, who bore the bearing of a sage, was born of the Sutta Gavalgana. And from the son born to Kunti's daughter came Karna, the great warrior, bearing his natural armor from birth, and his face radiant with his earrings. Vishnu, worshipped by all the worlds, appeared for the benefit of all beings, born of Vasudeva and Devaki. That God without beginning or end, creator and master of the universe, the unmanifest, imperishable Brahman, the primal source, beyond qualities, the indestructible self, the supreme Prakriti, the highest origin, the all-performing Purusha, the foundation of Sattva, the immovable and eternal apsara, the infinite, the unmoving, the divine, the Hamsa, Narayana, the Lord, the sustainer, the undecaying, the eternal, him the wise call the supreme imperishable, that all-pervading Purusha, the creator, the grandfather of all beings, for the purpose of upholding Dharma, was born among the Antakas and Vrishnis, Satyaki and Kritavarma, both of great valor and skilled in all weapons, devoted followers of Narayana, born of Satyaka and Hridika respectively, came into the world as masters of arms. The seed that fell from Bharadvaja grew in a pot. From that seed, born of the great seer of fierce tapas, Drona came into being. From Sharadvata, son of Gautama, a twin pair was born from a clump of reeds, Kripi, who became the mother of Ashvatthama, and the mighty Kripa. Then Ashvatthama was born of Drona, the foremost of all weapon-bearers. Drishtadyumna, radiant as fire itself, was born from the sacred flame during a great yagna, heroic and powerful with his bow, born to bring about Drona's end. From the sacrificial altar, likewise, the radiant and auspicious Krishna, Draupadi herself, was born, shining with beauty and bearing a supreme form. Nagnajit, a disciple of Prahlada, arose, and from him Subala was born. His progeny, destroyers of Dharma, were born due to the wrath of the Devas. The son of Subala, king of Gandhara, was Shakuni Saubala. And from that line also came Gandhari, Duryodhan's mother, both she and Shakuni well versed in statecraft. From Krishna Dvaipayana, in the field of Vichitravirya, were born Dhritarashtra, lord of men, and the mighty Pandu. From Pandu in turn, 5 sons were born from 2 wives, each the equal of the Devas. Yudhishthira, foremost in virtue, was born of Dharma. Vrikodara was born of the wind god. The glorious Dhananjaya, Arjuna, was born of Indra, the best of all weapon-bearers. From the twin Ashwins were born the beautiful brothers, Nakula and Sahadeva, both devoted to the service of their elders. 100 sons were born to Dhritarashtra, Duryodhana foremost among them, along with Yuyutsu, Karna, and the rest. Abhimanyu was born of Arjuna and Subhadra, grandson of Vasudeva, of auspicious birth. From each of the 5 Pandavas, and from Draupadi, 5 sons were born, beautiful in form and skilled in all weapons. Prativindya from Yudhishthira, Sutasoma from Vrikodara, Shrutakirti from Arjuna, Shatangnika from Nakula, and Shrutasena of great valor from Sahadeva. From Hidimba and Bhima, in the forest, was born Ghatotkacha. Shikhandi was born of Drupada as a girl who attained the status of a male, for the Yakshas Tuna had transformed her out of a wish to do her a favor. In the great war of the Kurus, many hundreds of thousands of kings assembled, all ready to fight. Their names are beyond all reckoning in every direction. It would be impossible to count them fully even in 10,000 years. But the foremost among them have been named here, the ones through whom this great narrative has been woven. This chapter matters because King Uparichara Vasu receives gifts and counsel from Indra, rules Chedi by Dharma, and becomes known as the king who dwells above. In the next chapter, the account of the earth's burden and the descent of the gods moves the story forward. The journey continues in the next chapter.